All right, now let's get started. Part 4, elephant translocation, one word only. Underline the word laws. Can you see the word laws? Underline that. And then underline the word breeding. And audio will go on smoothly and you have to listen patiently. Patiently means, okay, I'm waiting. As you know, the lion or tiger is waiting patiently for the prey. Like this you need to. Problems caused by elephant overpopulation, and then underline the word hunger. When they talk about hunger, it means audio is there. Now, my point is, do not read everything. Where there is the question, you will read it carefully. Where there is no question, you will just underline one word so that you could track the audio. Or for example, in the audio, when they use the word hunger, you have to be alert. Now they are reaching. Okay, so question number 31, damage to dash in the park. अब कोई चीज जो पार्क के अंदर है उसको नुकसान पहुंचाते हैं. प्रॉब्लम्स कॉज्ड बाय एलिफेंट ओवर पॉपुलेशन. जब एलिफेंट की पॉपुलेशन बढ़ जाएगी तो एलिफेंट्स पार्क में किसी चीज को नुकसान पहुंचाएंगे. डैमेज का वर्ड अंडरलाइन कर लें. अब डैमेज का सिनोनिम यूज होगा, उसके बाद आंसर आएगा और आंसर के साथ आएगा इन द पार्क, यानी वो चीज पार्क में है और डैमेज के सिनोनिम के साथ आएगा. लेट्स सी.
Part 4. You will hear a zoology student giving a presentation on the process of moving wild elephants to a new reserve, known as translocation.
For my presentation today, I want to tell you about how groups of elephants have been moved and settled in new reserves. This is known as translocation and has been carried out in Malawi in Africa in recent years. The reason this is being done is because of overpopulation of elephants in some areas. Overpopulation is a good problem to have and not one we tend to hear about very often. In Malawi's Majeti National Park, the elephant population had been wiped out by poachers who killed the elephants for their ivory. But in 2003, the park was restocked and effective law enforcement was introduced. Since then, not a single elephant has been poached. In this safe environment, the elephant population boomed. Breeding went so well that there were more elephants than the park could support. This led to a number of problems. Firstly, there was more competition for food, which meant that some elephants were suffering from hunger.
See that? Now answer is going to come. Before that it was all 1 minute 32 seconds, ba ba ba. Now you will come. Now you will listen carefully, okay? Yeah.
As there was a limit to the amount of food in the national park, some elephants began looking further afield. Elephants were routinely knocking down fences around the park, which then had to be repaired.
Elephants were routinely knocking down fences around the park, in the park and around the park. And knocking down means damage to, and correct answer is fences. F-E-N-C-E-S. Good. Question number 32. The translocation process, a suitable group of elephants from the same dash was selected. अब अभी मैंने बताया same का synonym क्या होगा? One, right? Same group, one group, single group, or anything like that.
So, how did this translocation process work in practice? Elephants were moved in groups of between 8 and 20, all belonging to one family.
All belonging to one family. Elephants from the same family. Correct answer is family. You understand part 4 उतना मुश्किल नहीं है. इस पे फोकस करने यहाँ पे 10 by 10. पार्ट 3 में अगर कोई मिस्टेक्स हो भी जाएं, यहाँ पे आप उसको दोबारा रिकवर करेंगे. क्वेश्चन नंबर 33. वेट्स. वेट्स किसको कहते हैं? ये एनिमल डॉक्टर को डंगर डॉक्टर नहीं कहते, अच्छा गलत बात है, एनिमल डॉक्टर. वेट्स एंड पार्क स्टाफ मेड यूज ऑफ. अब वेट्स ने और पार्क के स्टाफ ने कौन सी चीज इस्तेमाल की टू हेल्प गाइड द एलिफेंट्स इनटू एन ओपन प्लेन. कि सारे हाथी थे, उनको एक जगह पे इकट्ठा कर लिया. किस चीज से? हो सकता है कोई गाड़ी हो, जीप हो, जिसमें उनको डरा डरा के एक जगह पे ले गए. ठीक है, तो उन्होंने कौन सी चीज यूज की एलिफेंट्स को डरा के एक जगह पे इकट्ठा करने के लिए, कि ताकि सारे एक जगह पे आ जाएं, फिर हम इनका बंदोबस्त करते हैं. अब देखते हैं उन्होंने क्या यूज किया.
Because relationships are very important to elephants, they all had to be moved at the same time. A team of vets and park rangers flew over the park in helicopters and targeted a group, which were rounded up.
Okay, they flew in helicopters, so made use of helicopter. अब हेलीकॉप्टर से हाथी डरता है, वो जहाँ जहाँ गए उसको इकट्ठा करके एक जगह पे सारों का जमघटा बना लिया. उसके बाद फिर उनको कहीं लेके रिलोकेट करना था ना, उनको एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पे लेके जाना था. Alright, elephants were immobilized with tranquilizers. Immobilize का मतलब क्या है? उनको बेहोश करना. और tranquilizers वही उनको दवाई लगाते हैं, टीका लगाते हैं, एलिफेंट बेचारा बेहोश हो जाता है. ठीक है, सो दिस प्रोसेस का क्या मतलब है? मेकिंग immobilize with tranquilizer had to be completed quickly. कि उनको immobilize बड़ी जल्दी में करना था. To reduce. अब reduce की जगह पे क्या आ सकता है? Minimize. To reduce dash. To minimize dash.
The vets then used darts to immobilize the elephants. This was a tricky maneuver, as they not only had to select the right dose of tranquilizer for different sized elephants, but they had to dart the elephants as they were running around. This also had to be done as quickly as possible, so as to minimize the stress caused.
Okay, this had to be done as quickly as possible so as to minimize the stress. ठीक हो गया? अब reduce the stress and minimize stress. आंसर क्या हो जाएगा? Stress. अच्छा जी, elephants had to be turned. अब समझे कि हाथी बेहोश पड़ा हुआ है. ठीक है, उसको डार्ट के जरिए उन्होंने इंजेक्शन भी लगा दिया. Elephants had to be turned on their dash. अब इसका मतलब है पार्ट ऑफ एलिफेंट्स बॉडी, कि उसको उस चीज के बल लिटाना था. राइट, फॉर एग्जाम्पल एलिफेंट्स हैड टू बी टर्न्ड ऑन देयर डैश टू अवॉइड डैमेज टू देयर लंग्स. फॉर एग्जाम्पल एलिफेंट्स हैड टू बी टर्न्ड ऑन देयर बैलीज, कि उनको पेट के बल लिटाना था या उनको साइड के बल लिटाना था या जो भी था. सो हैड टू बी टर्न्ड ऑन डैश टू अवॉइड डैमेज टू देयर लंग्स, कि अगर ऐसा ना करते तो उसके लंग्स को नुकसान पहुंचना था. अब ये देखना है किस चीज़ पे उसको लिटाना था, मतलब पेट के बल, पाँव के बल, सर के बल एंड ऑल दैट.
As soon as the elephants began to flop onto the ground, the team moved in to take care of them. To avoid the risk of suffocation, the team had to make sure none of the elephants were lying on their chests, because their lungs could be crushed in this position. So, all the elephants had to be placed on their sides.
Okay, अगर चेस्ट पे होते तो उनके लंग्स डैमेज होने थे, तो all the elephants had to be placed on their sides. कई लोगों ने चेस्ट लिख के एटीट्यूड, आइल्स मसला ही कोई नहीं है मेरे लिए. ठीक है, सो उन्होंने बोला था चेस्ट पे नहीं, वहाँ पे उनके लंग्स डैमेज होने थे. तो दे हैड टू बी प्लेस्ड ऑन देयर साइड्स, के साइड के बल उनको लिटाना था. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन नंबर 36. एलिफेंट्स डैश हैड टू बी मॉनिटर्ड कॉन्स्टेंटली. यानी हाथी का हो सकता है ब्लड प्रेशर चेक करना हो, हाथी का ब्लड प्रेशर बढ़ गया हो. राइट, सो एलिफेंट्स डैश हैड टू बी मॉनिटर्ड कॉन्स्टेंटली, कि मुसलसल उन्होंने बेहोश एलिफेंट की कोई चीज़ चेक करनी थी. अब देखते हैं क्या चेक करना था. एलिफेंट्स डैश.
One person stayed with each elephant while they waited for the vets to do checks. It was very important to keep an eye on their breathing. If there were fewer than 6 breaths...
It was very important to keep an eye on their breathing. So breathing had to be monitored constantly. Had to be monitored का मतलब है it was very important. So correct answer is breathing. Spelling BREATHING. अच्छा जी, उसके बाद बात करेंगे मैट्रिएक्स की. मैट्रिएक्स का वर्ड आएगा लेकिन हमारा वहाँ पे क्वेश्चन नहीं है, और मैट्रिएक्स का अगर आपको मतलब नहीं भी आता उससे कोई फर्क पड़ता ही नहीं है. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, डेटा इंक्लूडिंग द साइज ऑफ देयर का क्या मतलब है? एलिफेंट टस्क, राइट, एंड डैश वॉज टेकन. अब दो चीज़ों का साइज उन्होंने लिया, एक एलिफेंट की टस्क और दूसरी क्या है, दूसरा वो बताएंगे. इट्स पार्ट ऑफ एलिफेंट्स बॉडी, राइट.
Collars were fitted to the matriarch in each group so their movements could be tracked in their new home. Measurements were taken of each elephant's tusks. Elephants with large tusks would be at greater risk from poachers and also of their feet.
And also of their feet. एक तो टस्क हो गया, उसको उसने elaborate किया. And also of their feet. Okay, now we've got question number 38, advantages of translocation. अब उनको जब नई जगह पे लेके गए उसका फ़ायदा क्या हुआ? नखोटा खोटा, इसका ये अफ्रीकन वर्ड है, सो इट्स एक्चुअली नखोटा खोटा. इसमें 2 दफ़ा खोता आएगा. राइट, अभी वो बोलेगा, मैं गलत नहीं बोल रहा, अभी सुनिएगा, वो भी यही कहेगा नखोटा खोटा, यानी ना खोता खोता. वाइल्ड लाइफ पार्क. वाइल्ड लाइफ पार्क का नाम क्या है? Nakota Kota, right? Question number 38. Dash opportunities. मैंने क्या बोला था? Opportunities की जगह पे क्या word आता है? Prospects. ठीक है? Job opportunities, job prospects, and all that.
The elephants were then taken to a recovery area before being loaded onto trucks and transported to their new home. The elephants translocated to Nkotakota settled in very well, and the project has generally been accepted to have been a huge success, and not just for the elephants. Employment prospects have improved enormously, contributing...
Okay, employment prospects have improved enormously. Advantages. Employment prospects have improved enormously. So answer क्या हो जाएगा? Employment. और prospects की जगह पे आ गया opportunities. ठीक है. So employment, EMPLOYMENT. Good. Next, a reduction in the number of poachers and dash. कि जो poachers होते हैं जो elephant को कत्ल करते हैं उसके वो दांत के लिए, they are called poachers. कि किसी भी जानवर को जो मारता है उसकी किसी एक पार्ट ऑफ बॉडी के लिए we call them poachers. यही से भी हमने सीखा है. ठीक है. So reduction in the number of poachers and dash. दो चीज़ों की तादाद कम हुई, एक poachers की और दूसरा किस चीज़ की, right?
Poaching is no longer an issue, as former poachers are able to find more reliable sources of income. In fact, many of them volunteered to give up their weapons, as they were no longer of any use to them.
So, many of them, they gave up their weapons. उन्होंने अपने हथियार भी जमा करवा दिए. जब उन्होंने हथियार जमा करवा दिए तो एक तो पोचर्स की तादाद कम हुई, दूसरी वेपन्स की. ठीक है, इसको समझना है. दोबारा सुने.
Poaching is no longer an issue, as former poachers are able to find more reliable sources of income. In fact, many of them volunteered to give up their weapons, as they were no longer of any use to them.
Okay, many of them given up their weapons. Give up कहते हैं जमा करवा देना, हथियार डाल देना. Next, we've got this conservation and all that. Question number 40. Increase in dash as a contributor to GDP. अब कोई चीज़ बढ़ी जिससे GDP में उसने contribute किया, तो increase in. देखते हैं increase के लिए अब क्या word लगाते हैं.
More than 24 elephants have been born at Nkotakota since relocation. With an area of more than 1,800 square kilometres, there's plenty of space for the elephant population to continue to grow. Their presence is also helping to rebalance Nkotakota's damaged ecosystem and providing a sustainable conservation model which could be replicated in other parks. All this has been a big draw for tourism, which contributes 5 times more than the illegal wildlife trade to GDP.
Big draw for tourism, which include in the GDP. So correct answer is tourism. ये last part सुनिएगा.
Be replicated in other parks. All this has been a big draw for tourism, which contributes 5 times more than the illegal wildlife trade to GDP.
Which contributes 5 times more than the wildlife trade to GDP. So answer is tourism. That's right.